Alright, so we got the keyboards clean. I think it's ready for paint. I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum flat black enamel. Just going to cover the whole thing, and then I'll probably, because there is a bit of a sheen on the buttons themselves, the actual keyboard tray itself looks pretty flat, but the buttons look like they have a sheen. So I'm going to take a paper towel and kind of polish them after it dries, but I've got to wait. I'm going to wait a full 24 hours before I do that, because I don't want to, touch it and have it get fingerprints and whatnot on it. So, I'm gonna go paint it now. All right, guys, just got back from spray painting in the backyard. I didn't bother filming that because it's not real exciting. We all know how to spray paint, right? That's where we're at right now. Looks pretty good. Still, obviously, kind of wet. I can still see some sheen where the paint hasn't dried fully yet, but I used that flat black paint, so it should completely flatten out once it's fully cured up. I'm just gonna let that sit for 24 hours. That's gonna help prevent, if I try and stick something down and with a sticky tack or tape or glue or whatever, and if I have to pull it back up, it shouldn't come back up as easy. At least ripping the paint off is what I mean. It shouldn't rip the paint off. The only tricky part is, getting around those keys, because they're, 4 sides and they're raised, so you have to hit it from each side, and then you kind of build up layers. And like when you're spray painting and you build up layers, each layer is like chemically hot and it wants to react with the one below it, and so you kind of have to move fast, like hit one side, all the, everywhere on the keys, and the next side and the next side and the next side, like until you're done. And that was the only part I found a little difficult. So anyways, it's gonna sit and cure, and then I'm gonna give it a little rub down with the paper towel to give it just a tiny little bit more sheen than what the flat is gonna give us. Less than what a satin paint would do, but it gives it that nice actual manufactured look, which I like. So, and I'll be back with the dots. Okay, here's where I'm at now. It's still the same day. It's just very late at night. I went ahead and attached these parts back onto the surface. Paint's dried up enough. There's still some tacky edges on some things, but it looks pretty good. And something else came in. The dots. So I'm gonna stick some dots on. I gotta figure out if there's like a bunch of different colors in here, and I'm trying to decide what I see in the picture. Do I see a yellow dot or do I see a white dot? There's 2 of them, these 2, and I can't quite make out. It kind of looks white and it kind of looks yellow, but there are definitely red dots around. So anyways, this pack's got like just sheets of different colored dots. So they're used for like organization or something like that. I found them on Amazon. I'll put a link on the blog so you guys can find them too if you want. There's a few different companies that make them too, so this is just the one that was the cheapest, and it didn't have like, it wasn't like in a roll or anything weird format or anything like that. It was just like sheets of them, and it was pretty cheap. It was like $6, I think. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I didn't spend a lot. Anyway, I'm gonna attach some of these here in a second. I need to remember which ones have the red dots. And I know these 2 have white or yellow, so I'm gonna look at some reference photos and then stick them on. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and attach these red dots, and I still need to make up my mind on these ones, the white and yellow, or yellow I should say, not and. But it's, even these look too big. Gosh, that looks huge to me. They need to be smaller, I think. Well, I'm gonna go with white for now. It could be a yellow light that's turning it yellow, so it doesn't look bright yellow to me. These still look too big, so I'm going to be taking them off, trying to find something smaller, which is a bummer because I hate spending on money on things that I'm not going to use. Those are 1/4-inch dots, so it needs to be smaller than that. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad, it just doesn't look right. Anyway, until we find the stick though, and these two guys, these two silver tubes, were kind of dead in the water. These two parts got to be found. But, yeah. There we are. Alright, so I think these dots are much too big. I didn't really push them down very hard, so I'm going to pick them back off. I've got hundreds of them, so I'm not worried about wasting a few. I'm going to take everything off, you know, the light sensor and the red button, the switch. They're just on there with sticky tack. I'm going to rub the whole thing down with a paper towel down now. I meant to do that first, but then I kind of spaced out and got a little excited about the dots coming in, so I wanted to stick those on, and they're definitely too big. Thought about trying to use a hole punch, and somebody else had the same idea on the thread. I don't know that that's going to be smaller than these dots. I looked up some hole punches, and a lot of them said 1/4-inch, which is the same size as what these dots are. But in my mind, they're smaller. I'm thinking something like a 3/16 size dot would be about right. Not an 1/8. 1/8 would be too small, but a 3/16 I think would be about right. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to quickly pull these off, give it a rub down, and then try to think of other things for dots. And still no stick. The big piece that's left, that's all the other parts are kind of waiting on. One day. And I was thinking about this, like it looks like that red button is lit up and there's a perfect space for like an LED to be sitting under there to light that red button up. Slobber on it. It's useful. There we go. Just a little shine to it. Okay, it turns out I've got a hole punch upstairs. I found it, and there's some of the little paper dots that are inside that are from getting punched out. They do look smaller to my eye initially, but I'm going to set it on here and find out and see if it is actually smaller like I suspect. Just a hair. It's not dramatic. It's probably not enough. Let me get a close-up for you guys. Alright, there it is. You can see the red peeking out, so it is a little bit smaller than 1/4 inch. I don't know that it's enough. I'm going to set it on my keyboard here. Let me prop it up like this. There we go. I'll take it and see what I think of this. That might... That might be too big. Yeah, I think that's too big as well. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it needs to be smaller than that, personally. I was hoping that that hole punch would be the perfect size, but it's just a little too big. Just a little bit. Alright, so I ordered a couple of these little pieces. They are the Amphenol PL 259s. I guess they're used on a bunch of Star Wars stuff. Droids and cockpits and whatnot. So I'm gonna have to cut these down once I take them apart. I need this, but I need to slice it off right there. Okay, let's cut these Amphenol thingies down to size. Alright, I bought a new tool probably a month ago, maybe longer actually, and I just now opened the box and set it up. And let me show you. Hey, I got a sander. I've been meaning to buy one of these for a long time. I need it for multiple projects. This is gonna be the first time I've used it because I just took it out of the box today. So I'm excited. I need to grind down the little lip that's left on the bottom there. Okay, it's time for the maiden voyage. Okay, let's start sticking parts back on here. Get my bag of parts. We're just going to test and see what we think of things all together. Just I find visualizing pieces kind of helps. Let's see. About like that. I don't know, what do you think, guys? Is that the right part? I'm not crazy about the threads on the bottom or in the middle. I mean, they seem like they're the right height and the right size. Maybe? I don't know. And then Tom has found a new potential bubble plate or square or rectangle, whatever you want to call it, light sensor that could possibly be the correct one. It says over here. So, I don't know. With the control stick. Alright, this is where we sit. It looks pretty good. It's not quite right, I don't think. I'm not sure about these, the silver tubes. The threading is what's throwing me on it. Like, it looks thicker on the wall because of the threading than what I'm seeing in the picture. Maybe it's because it's blurry. It's hard to tell, but I don't know. It could be, it could not be. You never know. The bubbles on this end, Tom, like I mentioned before, he found a very good potential candidate there as well. So I'm probably going to pick up one of those cameras as well and take it apart and see what I think of that. Still want to find the dots because I think that'll really, sell the look of it really well. Those 1/4 inch dots are just too big. Hole punch dots, they're too big. I've got to find something that's a little bit smaller, and I got to find a material that I can punch it out of. So like a sheet of colored sticker material, I think is, and then like a special hole punch of some sort. I don't know if anybody has any ideas about the dots. I'd love to hear it. Also, the control stick. That's the big one. That's the part we got to find. That one really completes and sells it. Because otherwise it's just this funny little keyboard. So I've been looking. My recent theories are it's something like a rivet gun or a staple hammer or a staple gun or something like that. Just the way it's constructed with those little E-clips and stuff. Just that heavy duty metal kind of hand mechanical tool. It kind of reminds me of that type of stuff. And then also there's some camera grips that look like that. So anyways, keep looking, guys. We're getting there.